Alright guys, some massive news. It is confirmed Xander Zayas will be defending his WBO and WBA unified super welterweight titles when he takes on Jaron Ennis, the former unified ring IBF and WBA welterweight champion, June 27th in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. A massive, massive fight and a huge opportunity for both of these guys. Jaron Ennis, an opportunity to make his claim and get some world titles in a new division. Xander Zayas, an opportunity here to make his claim for why he is the number one at super welterweight. Before we get into it all, can you all please head down the bottom there, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please do leave all your thoughts in the comments below. This is no doubt a mega fight for me. I mean, we got a guy from Philly taking on a Puerto Rican American. This New York stadium will be absolutely rocking on fight night. It's for the unified super welterweight titles. And, you know, we were all sort of wanting to see that Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Jaron Ennis fight. I still do want to see that fight at some point. This no doubt cements for me that it was Virgil Ortiz, his team, and Golden Boy that were stalling negotiations and not wanting that action. I think Jaron Ennis saying, all right, well, you guys clearly don't want the action, so I'll go take mine to the unified super welterweight champion. Shows to me once and for all, if it wasn't already clear, that it was Virgil Ortiz's team that was stalling, because Jaron Ennis has not gone and picked any easier fight. And if we're to compare the two fights, I mean, we were all dying to see Virgil Ortiz versus Jaron Ennis. I think there's an argument to say that Jaron Ennis versus Xander Zayas is a better fight than that one. It could be a more entertaining fight. I mean, if you compare the two fights, Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz would have been all action, entertainment, chaotic, brawling. And then you compare it to this one, where I think this is going to be a more high-level, elite-level boxing match, but equally as entertaining, but in a different way. And I think both fights offer something. And this one here, like I said, I think it's going to be a rocking stadium in Brooklyn, New York. The Philly crowd, and we've got that Puerto Rican crowd that resides in New York. It's going to be an unbelievable fight. And to talk about the two fighters, I mean, Jaron Ennis, bulk of his work, all of his work, has been done at welterweight, but we know that he wasn't a welterweight, all right? He just wasn't a welterweight. So stepping up to super welterweight, I think we're just going to see better and better performances by Jaron Ennis as he gets closer and closer to his weight. I mean, I always sort of talk about that photo of Jaron Ennis sparring with Canelo Alvarez, and you just see the size difference between the two, that Jaron Ennis is actually slightly bigger than Canelo Alvarez, and Jaron was fighting at welterweight, and Canelo's fighting at super middleweight. I know he's not the biggest super middleweighter in the world, but you get my talk here. And for Jaron Ennis, I think he's just going to get better and better and better. I think last year's win against Amanda Stanionis is his best win to date. Comes into super welterweight, demolishes Usman Lima in one round, and he's ready for these fights. All right, most people were angry at the fact that he took that Usman Lima fight anyway, because we all knew that he was beyond that fight and he was better than that fight, and he should be in bigger fights. But he wanted to have his coming out party at super welterweight. He's had that. It's time for the action, and this is what he's got. Xander Zayas coming off the best sort of 12 to 18 months of his life, and he starts 2025 with no world titles, and come March of 2026, which we are in now, June, where we will be at this fight, he's a unified world champion. He beat Jorge Garcia Perez to claim the WBO, and then he defended that and claimed the WBA to unify the titles against Abbas Barrel, which no doubt is his best win to date as well. So for these two guys, peak of their powers, Xander Zayas at 23 years of age. The one thing I will say about him coming into that Jorge Garcia Perez fight, I did question him. I questioned his rawness. I said, is he actually ready for this fight? There was still some scrappy parts of that fight. It wasn't a perfect fight. I still don't believe the Abbas Barrel fight was a perfect fight. I do worry about Xander Zayas' gas tank the later rounds, but he's getting better and better every single time we see him. And that rawness is leaving him. The experience is coming in, and he's showing to the world that he's one of the most elite level fighters in the world. And like I said, at 23 years of age, he's only going to get better and better. And the other thing is, I think if you look about 1, 2, even 3 years ago, you can tell that Xander Zayas wasn't fully grown yet. And I still don't believe he is fully grown. Every time I see him, he seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more muscular and muscular and muscular every time we see him fight. And, this fight here, he's going to need it all, because Jaron Ennis, like I said, is a big super welterweighter. But this fight here, for me, has entertainment value all over it. In terms of early doors, which fighter am I backing in this fight? I still do have my, trepidations, my worries, my concerns about Xander Zayas. Like I said, I still see a little bit of rawness in his game. I still do worry about that gas tank in the later rounds, and he hasn't been up against a monster like Jaron Boots Ennis yet in his career. And for me, I think Jaron Boots Ennis, for me, early doors, and it'll probably come into fight week as well, is no doubt the favourite. I think Jaron Boots Ennis should win this fight. I think Jaron Boots Ennis is the better fighter. I think his physical abilities as well, on top of that, his athleticism, combined with his boxing IQ and know-how, is better than Xander Zayas's. And I think Xander Zayas will lose this fight in turn. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be a competitive fight. That doesn't mean this fight is going to go one way. This doesn't mean this is going to be like Jaron versus Amanda Stanionis. I still believe this fight to be a very competitive fight, one that could even go to a decision. But I would back Jaron Boots Ennis to win that decision. I think he'll outwork Xander Zayas. I think he'll land the cleaner shots. I think he'll land the better shots over the course of the fight and probably be more active over the 12 rounds than what Xander Zayas is. I would expect Jaron Boots Ennis to be on the front foot. And when you combine all these elements and how fights are scored, you can see why Jaron Boots Ennis would come out the victor in that fight. But don't get me wrong, I believe Xander Zayas will have his success in the fight as well. That creates a very engaging and very competitive and very entertaining fight, which I can see us having here. And am I counting out Xander Zayas to win this fight? Not at all. I think Xander Zayas, every time he steps into that ring, is proving somebody wrong every single time. He's getting better and better every single time. And to come in and beat Jaron Boots Ennis, it is a step up, but I don't think it's leaps and bounds away from what we could expect from Xander Zayas. I think he's got all the talent and natural ability to be able to compete with someone like Jaron Boots Ennis. But do I believe at this stage in his career he can beat Jaron Boots Ennis? No, I don't think that. We're going to go through film study and everything else when we get close to the fight, but early doors, yeah, I'm favouring Jaron Boots Ennis, and I don't think that's outrageous to say. I think that would be the favourite in most people's books. The level of favouritism, I think, will vary between people. Some people will have Jaron Boots Ennis by a landslide. For me, I don't think it is a landslide. I think it's quite competitive, but not competitive enough for it to be a split decision. I think it is unanimously Jaron Boots Ennis. I think if anyone's to get the stoppage in this fight, I think it's Jaron Boots Ennis. But to say Xander Zayas couldn't claw himself a close split decision win or claw himself a draw in this fight, I think would be disrespectful to Xander Zayas. I think he's done enough to prove everybody that he is a high-level fighter and he is the natural super welterweight, and not that I think that'll have any impact on this fight at all, but if you're going to make that argument, you could. So for me, Jaron Boots Ennis takes this, but I think it'll be an outstanding fight nonetheless. All right, we've got one more piece of news. Dmitry Bivol will return to the ring against Michael Eifert May 30th in Russia. This fight is his IBF mandatory. I know we all want to see Bivol Beterbiev 3, but in order for that to be sort of for a few more belts, he's going to take this fight early. And you know what? I don't mind it anyway. These two guys have had a long layoff, injuries and everything else regarding them. So for Dmitry Bivol to have a run out against Michael Eifert in his home of Russia, get the blood flowing, get a good win, hold on to that IBF title, and then take Beterbiev, I have no problems with it at all. It's, you know what, we would have liked to have seen it straight away. We didn't get to see it straight away because of injuries and other things. So to have to wait another few months, it doesn't really bother me at all. And I think Dmitry Bivol runs through Michael Eifert and sets up that Beterbiev fight regardless. It is a shame, though, because I guess the argument is for Beterbiev, the guy's getting older and older and older and older every time that we have to postpone this fight and wait for this fight. And, you know, you could say that his age had an impact on the first fight. His age had an impact on the second fight. And no doubt his age might have an impact on this third fight. His knees and everything else about him, you know, the age isn't going to help it. And Dmitry Bivol, a few years younger, will have the advantage the longer this fight gets postponed. And you really want to see Dmitry Bivol get through Michael Eifert with no problems May 30th and then say, all right, you really took no damage. That means we can look at a October, a November, if latest a December date for that Beterbiev fight, and you want to lock that down and get it done so we can see it before that third fight never happens. I'd hate to see it left as a draw, but, you know, you can see the niceness in leaving it one apiece, but I think a third one will really clarify which one's the better fighter out of these two. People will make excuses for the fight saying, well, yeah, Bivol won it, but it was because Beterbiev was so old, or Beterbiev won it, but that's because Bivol was injured for the past 12 months and wasn't fully ready for that fight. So there'll be excuses nonetheless, but I still want to see the third fight. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Dimitri Bivol versus Michael Eifert. When do you think we're going to see him take on Beterbiev? And I want to know your predictions early doors for Xander Zayas and Jaron Boots Ennis, and what are you expecting from that fight?